Chapter 26. Through the winter, Dax, his legs still in pain, stayed busy at the bank and absent from his ranch activities, except for a few short visits when it was time to pay his crew and the women cooks. He could see that Colm was far beyond his years in terms of his work. Colm knew what to do and was willing to do it no matter the weather, the size of the task, how mean the cow was, or how high the horse bucked. At the ripe old age of 15 years, he more than adequately filled the slot his father unfortunately vacated. As the days grew longer, the haystacks dwindled. The greening meadows, painted with the bright yellow hue of buttercups, chased the snow back into the shaded timberline. Baby calves spent the days running and jumping, testing the legs that would propel them for their lifetime. Each morning, when Colm brushed the team, the curry comb filled quickly with winter hair, conclusive evidence that it was time for Mother Nature to remove the winter coats she had grown on her creatures the previous fall. Colm rode the 15 miles home to see how the grass was growing and came back to inform Alton it was time to turn the cows out at Dax's home ranch. Alton was relieved, as there was only enough hay left for 1 week. Colm bid goodbye to Cana, and he, Alton, and Amos trailed the cows back to Conifer Cliffs. Colm moved back into his family home. He rode to town to tell Dax the cows were home. Then, he rode to Otto's to retrieve the horses he had ponied there last fall. He spent the next 2 days packing salt to all the licks and fixed the fences damaged from the winter snow. He missed Cana Coulter, but he missed Laura Dyson, too. He knew there would always be work to do, but the cows were home and behind good fences, and Colm wanted a few days off. He rode to town and entered the bank. Colm found Dax working at his desk in the back office. "Hi, Dax. Can I have a week off?" Colm asked. "I want to ride down to the Bitterroot to visit the Lighters and Kyle Brisky." Dax thought for a moment. "Do we need to hire one or both of the Brisky boys to help you this summer?" Dax responded, "No, Dad left everything in good shape. I can do what needs to be done by myself," Colm assured him. "How about your brother Quinn?" Dax asked. "He's never been any help to anyone," Colm replied. "Dad spent more of his time just trying to wake Quinn up in the morning than he was work. I can get a lot more done if he's not around. I can trade work with Otto. When he needs help, I can help him. And when I need help, he can help me. Will Otto look after the cows while you're gone?" Dax looked at Colm, man to man. "Yes, I have already talked to him about it," Colm replied. "Have a good time in the Bitterroot then. I'll see you when you get back. Aren't you going to talk to me?" Samantha asked Colm as he was leaving the bank. "I said hi when I came in," Colm answered. "How about going over to Dyson's to have lunch, and we can talk for a bit longer?" she asked. "Okay. Can you go right now?" "Yeah, my lunch break is in 2 minutes," she said, looking at Fred. "Go," he responded. "I'll look after things while you're gone." Samantha and Colm stopped at the hitching rail. Colm petted his dog, Hooligan, and told him to stay with Socks. They ate lunch together and chit-chatted about their recent activities. Samantha saw how her young brother had changed since the death of their parents only 4 months before. Samantha realized how her father's teachings made it possible for Colm to fill his shoes so well. After lunch, the two offered their goodbyes at the hitching rail where Socks and Hooligan patiently waited. Colm mounted up and rode home to ready a pack horse and his camping gear for his trip to see his friends in the Bitterroot. He spent the late afternoon walking around the place where he was born and spent most of his short life admiring the lifetime accomplishments of his father. He remembered how rewarding it had been to help build the sawmill, only to see it tear his dad's arm off. He reflected on the barn, remembering the day all the neighbors came to help them build it from the lumber his dad milled. He missed his folks, but hid his emotions by working hard and becoming a man at only 15. Colm sat down in his dad's rocking chair and watched the sunset, whittling and thinking about the direction he wanted his life to go. He was happy to be home, but sad his mom, dad, and sister were not there. He was relieved, however, that he didn't have to put up with his stingy brother. who claimed everything was his and patted himself on the back for doing things he had not done at all. He didn't know how long it had been dark when he retired to his bed, but it felt good. It felt familiar. Colm woke before daylight, the way he had trained his body clock. He saddled Socks and tied his camping supplies to a sawbuck pack saddle on a buckskin called Ricochet, with the bright, yellow sun peeking over the mountain behind him. Colm nudged Socks toward town with his new spurs. He led Ricochet, and Hooligan followed along behind. Back in town, Colm waited on a bench in front of Dyson's for Tom to arrive and unlock the door. Laura came 10 minutes later and took Colm's order. After ham, eggs, fried spuds, toast, coffee, and a fun time teasing Laura, he rode out of town. Sock's long stride was more comfortable than John's rocking chair. Finally, Colm stopped at a water trough along the stock driveway near Missoula to let the horses drink, eat, and have a short rest. It was evening when he rode into Leiter's barnyard. Josh pedaled a grinding stone, sharpening an axe. "Long time no see, old friend," Josh greeted Colm, looking up from his work. "Mind if I camp over at the fire pit by the creek? I'm dying to see your sister," Colm said. "I'll get my bedroll and camp there with you," Josh said, leaning the axe up against the barn. "I'll go tell Dad what we're going to do and tell Betty you're here." The boys set up camp and started a roaring fire. Sitting on large firewood rounds, they caught up on the happenings of the winter months. Betty ran to the campfire and threw her arms around Colm. "I thought you would never come back to see me. It's been so long. I miss you every day." "I missed you too, Betty," Colm said, looking toward the house to see if her folks could see them. When he saw they couldn't, he hugged her tight and gave her a big kiss. "She's got it bad," Josh said. "She talks about you all the time. Only to you, Josh. I would never tell Mom or Dad." Betty was too shy to let her parents know she liked a boy. "If Dad knew, he would lock you up until you were 60, Josh giggled. "Colm and I need to take a walk down the river, Josh," Betty said. "Okay, I get the hint," Josh said, stoking the fire. After a long walk together, Betty heard her dad calling her to the house, and the boys crawled into their bedrolls on opposite sides of the fire. "Betty is a nice girl. Any boy would be lucky to have her," Colm commented. "She really likes you, Colm. I'm hoping you and Betty will get together," Josh commented. "I like her too," Colm replied. "You want to ride down to Darby and visit Kyle with me in the morning. Maybe you can talk your folks into letting Betty go too." "I'll go, but Betty has school. I know Dad would never let her play hooky." At 4:30 the next morning, Josh was awakened by Colm rattling a frying pan out of his pack box. He had only eaten jerky the day before and wanted to cook some eggs and bacon. "Don't start cooking," Josh said. "Mom is expecting us for breakfast over at the house. We can load the camp onto our horses, then head to the house." "Sounds good," Colm replied gratefully, stuffing the pan back into the box. He took out a beef bone for Hooligan, saddled Socks, situated the sawbuck pack saddle on Ricochet, hung the pack boxes on each side, and tied his bedroll on top. Colm led his horses to the barn, where Josh had also been preparing, packing jerky and cans of pork and beans into his large saddlebags. "I won't take a frying pan if you already have one," Josh stated. "I have to take my horse over to our camp and get my bed." After everything was packed and ready to go, the boys tromped into the house, where the aroma of fresh brewed coffee filled the air. Carrie cooked hotcakes, and Betty served them with warm honey, while Arvin poured himself a cup and sat down at the table. "Where did Dax winter his cows?" Arvin asked Colm. "Cold Creek and Juniper Junction," Colm answered. "He bought hay from 2 different guys and paid them to feed it. I spent all winter with the cows, helping feed and care for them." "Dax put a good herd of cows together," Arvin remarked. "But without John, he doesn't know what he's doing. Dad and Mom both died late last fall," Colm informed the Lighters, holding back his emotions. "I have Dad's job now. Dax doesn't have anybody else this summer. I work for Amos and Alton in the winter, but in the summer, They will be putting up hay while I look after the cows. That's a big job for someone your age, Arvin remarked. Dad taught me a lot, but I wish he were still here to teach me more. I wish he were too. I liked him, Arvin replied. I'm sorry for your loss, Colm. After wolfing down a Carrie's hotcakes and a pound of bacon, Colm and Josh rode the mile west to the main road and turned south for the 40-plus mile ride to Derby. The day passed quickly for Colm. He had someone to talk to as they both enjoyed the fresh spring day, sharing their thoughts and dreams about girls and their life experiences. When they got close to Brisky's house, Colm gave Ricochet as he led rope to Josh and set Hooligan in his lap so Jeff, Kyle's Australian shepherd, wouldn't chew him up when they entered his space. Kyle heard Jeff barking and went to the ranch house door. In the dusk, he could see 3 horses approaching. Colm and Josh could see him standing under the porch light and started howling and laughing. Who are them guys? Kyle questioned. Crazy, whoever they are, he thought to himself. Colm and Josh stopped and tied handkerchiefs over their faces, then rode up to the porch. The one on socks must be Cole, but I don't know who's leading Ricochet, Kyle said, looking over the horses he trained the summer before, not recognizing Josh's horse. Got a place for us to camp, mister? Josh asked. Not for a couple of horse thieves, Kyle replied. How about for a couple of guys who came to visit you? Colm chuckled. Josh pulled down his kerchief. Good to see you guys, Kyle greeted, his face spreading into a big smile. Come on over to the fire pit, and I'll help you set up your camp. Have you had supper? Kyle offered. Kyle accompanied Colm and Josh to the pasture, where they turned out their horses. Better put your pup in the salt room in the barn so Jeff doesn't try to eat him, Kyle advised. Colm took some bones out of his pack and walked to the salt room, where he fed them to Hooligan. The 3 then walked to the house. For the next 4 days, Colm and Josh helped Kyle break colts. Colm enjoyed the time with Kyle and didn't want to leave, but he heard his job calling him home. It was dusk when Colm and Josh rode into the lighter's barnyard. Betty ran to the barn to meet Colm. The 3 sat around the campfire together, where Colm and Betty snuggled, roasting hot dogs. Colm stayed at Lighters for 3 days, spending as much time with Betty as he could and helping Josh with ranch work while Betty was in school. On the 4th day, he left early in the morning and rode to Conifer Cliffs, arriving in time for supper at Dyson's. After staying up late with Laura, he was too tired to ride home, so he camped under the town water tower. The next morning, he rode to Otto's to check in, then home, and got back to work. That evening, after supper, he sat by the cook stove as it cooled and spent the evening whittling and talking to Hooligan, who was stretched out on the floor next to him. He thought about Betty, Laura, and Kana. He liked them all. Laura was probably his favorite, but he was only 15 and knew he had a long time to figure it out.